least okay. Today is a Friday, and we're gonna, I don't know, chat and do stuff. That's my life, y'all. We just chit chat, we just hang out, we just do our thing. Ain't that the truth, chat? Ain't that the truth? Anyways, I had to. Oh, that feels so good. I did a upper body workout again, and my arms are sore. But anyways, I am late, but that is because I I was working on my a little project where I had to spray paint things, and that's why I'm a bit late. I had to spend like the past like 30 minutes spray painting stuff. And I won't be able to stay too long because I do have to make dinner, and then I do also have to do some homework tonight and all that crazy jazz. So that's my life. Anyways, I'm also putting some lotion on my nails. There's been a lot of stuff happening. I have a couple of key points that I want to hit on today, but they're kind of like miscellaneous. I don't know how deep you really want to go into any of it, so I'm like, meh, meh, meh. Oh well, we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Maybe we can do like some gaming. I don't know. I haven't decided. Is there any gaming that we should do today? I can't decide. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know. Hi, George. How are you? How is life? Anything exciting happening in your world? Oh, tomorrow we get a game. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm very tired today. I had like a really intense workout. My heart was going like, and I was like, as I should be. I was doing the easy stuff for too long. And my body was like, girl, what are you doing? You need to actually work out more. And I was like, no. Now here I am. Oh, we had our first frost warning tonight. Oh, yay! I think we had ours yesterday. We might have another one tonight, but if we do, I hope it's, well, I'm nervous. I still have a lot of yard work I have to do. Tomorrow's gonna be a busy day. It's gonna be a busy day, bro. Hopefully it's not too bad. Putting stuff on my nails. The taffy stick. Did you get everything that you needed to do outside done before the frost, or no? I still have a bit of mulch I gotta lay down. George says it's a little chilly, so I got the fireplace going and a cup of green tea. Oh, that's nice! Oh, I hope that's good. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. You might fall asleep. It might get a little too cozy for you. It won't be too bad. Let's see if Daria shows up today. I want to ask him a question. I'm like, motherfucker, I did my research now. I want to know. I want to know. Can you show me? Do 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 do. Yep, you finished all the yard prep yesterday? Good. Good, good, good. It's so hard to get spray paint to be even. I have it hanging right now, as I sprayed it, because before I was like flipping it over trying to get even coats, and the process of flipping it over was like taking some of the paint off of it. So I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna hang it. And it's working a lot better, but it does not look that good. Just saying. It's like a little hanger thing that I found on the side of the road. And I cleaned it and I was like, I'm gonna spray paint it. And I used the last of my black spray paint. I just put the clear coat on. Little projects that give me little bits of dopamine. Man, that felt really good. Oh, I needed that. Feels so like quiet today. I haven't had as much caffeine. Oh. Spray paint is a pain. I'm working on 2 lanterns for my niece. I'll try to finish them tomorrow. Oh, that's exciting! Yay! Are you spray painting them, or is it like a glass lantern thing? Like, what's the vibe? Oh yeah, they're black. She wants them brass finish. Okay, okay. Oh, so you gotta actually spray paint those too. Ugh. Good luck. Hi, Bixby. Hey y'all. Are you coming up? Bixby might come say hi. Let's see. Hello. Hello, princess. You wanna come up? Uppies? Nope, no uppies yet. I always feel like fall is kind of the best season to do a lot of work like that. I don't know why. I always tend to do it in the late summer, early fall. I think it's just maybe it's habitual, but I feel like the weather is usually really good and it's not super hot, so everything dries too fast. I don't know. It's just nice to work outside when it's like that. You can just open the garage and chill. I love the fall season. Me too. Me too. Spring's my favorite because of all the new growth, but fall makes me really happy because it's so chill. I like Halloween. But since I garden, that's why I love spring so much. You get to see everything pop up from the winter, and if you live in a warmer spot too, spring is still pretty intense. I'd love winter more if I lived in a really warm spot because that's when everything blooms and gets really nice and pretty. Because the summer months are usually too hot for like literally anything to be happy. It's just like, I'm trying not to die. It gets like that a little bit here in Nebraska because it gets really hot. It can get up to the hundreds sometimes, but it's usually not too bad. Hey, May. Good boy. George says the Canadian geese have been here in the pond the last 2 nights. I can hear them now landing and getting ready for the night. Aw, that's cute. Yeah, my neighbor has a lot more bird feeders and stuff, so we've been getting lots of interesting ones. She's a hobbyist, so she has a couple of different ones that she fills with interesting stuff. George says they're loud. Yeah, they are really loud. They also poop everywhere. It's really gross. When they start flying north, there's just shit everywhere. Darius, I knew you'd fucking be here. God. I have confrontational stuff for you. Not like aggressive confrontation, but like, how are you? It's nothing about you. I'm just like, oh cool, go on then. Oh wait, George says, I figure there's about 100 or so in here in the morning. Damn. That's that's a good amount. All the chimney swifts have left my chimney and I'm so sad. They were so cute. Every time I'd go into by my chimney, I'd hear them tweet. And if I like started like singing or whatever, they would tweet back at me. And it was so cute. I was like, oh, the babies. It was the best thing. I want them to come back again. Daria says, oh cool, go on then. So, I learned a little, I did my research on some other political streamers and stuff like that, because you're like, you need to, like, you reference people all the time, and you're just like, oh, they're not too bad, I like him or whatever. I looked into Destiny. Yo, there's a lot of drama there, bro. Like, there's a lot more than I thought. I'm not going to dive super deep into it on stream because I don't want to shit talk a lot. Do you remember what I said about Destiny? You said you don't like his personality, but you said you liked his takes, which was like interesting. I don't know why he's getting platformed by like larger media organizations though, when he has so much history, you know? Daria says, I said that he was the nearest that aligned to politically, but he was morally decrepit. I didn't know it was that bad, bro. I didn't know it was that bad. I'm not trying to like talk too much shit or whatever because I think that's like BM or, but I didn't know. Yeah, it is bad. The allegations. Bro, were you gonna like throw tomatoes at him during the debate or something? I don't know why you would go. Not trying to be like an ass, but I don't know. He like he reminds me of like oh no. George says Destiny is a guy. The name sounds like a showgirl in Vegas. Yeah. Daria says there's even one 10 years ago when they tried to argue about how he would be justified to shoot a child that was harassing him. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? I thought I understood. I was like, yeah, he's just like jealous or whatever, and he gets bitter and he just like sends his audience towards other streamers that he doesn't like or whatever, which you never know what streamer would do that to you, There's like I mean, a lot of them do have morals where they don't really talk about people who they dislike a lot, but I mean, who his community isn't actually that bad. He's for his community literally runs like the live stream fail subreddit. Like, I'm not saying like actually runs, but I was doing a deep dive. I was going into his subreddit, looking at like the highest posts, and then looking to see where those people post the most, and they post in live stream fails all the time and get tons of traction. I don't think that's true. Literally, it's a lot. Like, it's a lot. And they also cross post a lot to H3H3 and other like questionable audiences that I don't enjoy that much. Just go on to their pages and like look through stuff. He was banned from that subreddit for like 5 years. No clips of his were allowed on. That doesn't mean his audience doesn't like post shit there. It's H2H2 more so. No. I'm saying that they like cross post in the three communities a lot. A lot. Like, I'm not saying he posts in the community or his audience posts stuff directly related to him. I'm saying that if they decide that they do not like someone, they will post so much shit in live stream fails to say that they hate the person or whatever. It's insane. It's insane. It's like all a circle. All three of those subreddits are like. Anyways, I didn't know it was like that until I was looking into it. I was like, damn. Damn, bro. I didn't know. Yeah, but I still don't know. Dario says his community is called TGD Livestream. Feels goes in waves. It's gone from fun stuff to bloggers to W community to politics. I don't really know. I don't know. He's like a moderator in his community subreddit too, which is kind of wild to me, honestly. Like, if I were to get to the point where someone made like a subreddit about me, I would not mod it. I already mod another one, and I hate modding. It's so annoying. Like, it's worth it if it's for a good cause, but if it's just for, like, me, I'd be like, oh, oh well, no thank you. Darius says, and Destiny is by far the most informed political streamer of that level. I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm gonna be 100% real. It seems like he parrots a lot of stuff that other people say. Not gonna lie. Because, like, he has the most, not even the most, but he has some pretty, like, lib takes that are very, like, you know, my love for reading and research, the only one that comes near the standard is Destiny, for better or for worse. He doesn't really cite a lot of sources, though. Like, I was looking into it, and he doesn't really, like, say, oh, I watched this, or I got this statistic from this, and explicitly, like, breaking everything down. He just kind of references it vaguely, and when he makes mistakes, he doesn't really acknowledge them. And I don't really like that. I'm just like, eh. Like, I don't have a lot of respect for that IMO. Like, and he'll twist things to try to make him seem right when there's not a lot of evidence for it. Which I understand a lot of streamers do that. Like, yeah. He publishes his research with sources. They're quite useful, certainly on international stuff. But he literally said that he was pro-genocide. Like, the resources that he came up with to back that up was just fucking propaganda. That's why I'm like, I don't view him to be reputable, because you can find resources for a lot of things, but actually breaking down and seeing who funded the studies, who did XYZ is a whole different ballgame. That's why I don't dive deep into that sort of thing, because it would take me like my entire day to prep for a topic. And I just kind of discuss it more surface level, because if you go to that level, you have to be sure that everything is like completely broken down, you know? Like, you got to go bar for bar with it. And you have to be sure that the people that you're sourcing and stuff don't have biases. I don't know. For me, his international stuff is pretty, like, hogwash. And he doesn't really, sorry to use, like, the whole lefty term or whatever, but from my personal perspective, and I'm not saying I'm the best at it or anything, but I wouldn't go to him as like a source, because he doesn't go that deep into it. He just finds enough to reinforce his belief system, and then he says that's good enough, and he continues. And he'll like acknowledge that he's doing fucked up shit or promoting fucked up shit, but he won't change his perspective in light of that, and that concerns me. Because like when talking about Palestine, he was like, no, he's like, I'm pro-genocide. Like, why would you say that? And if you understand that's what's happening, why would you still promote it? I don't know. That's my thing. Because, like, I don't know. And it just makes me uncomfortable. Because the more research I do, the more I'm like, and a lot of other leftist, like, content creators, or even just, like, liberal content creators, they don't pretend to be as informative as he does. Which, like, concerns me. You know? That he's like, I don't know, I'm not trying to be like a shit, you know, it's just, I don't think like his work holds a ton of stuff, you know? Darius says, I'm not going to defend any of his personal stuff. He's morally bankrupt to Greece 2006 level, but I find his research to be the only thing approaching a reasonable level for an online political streamer. He doesn't even like look into, like, that's not even addressing the fact that when he acknowledges that something is a bad take, he still stands 10 toes down when his audience proves him wrong in something. That is not like, that's not doing your research, you know? Can we have an example? Literally Palestine genocide. Literally Palestine v. Israel. Like, that whole situation. He's gotten into so much bad water with that, and he still is pro-Israel. Like, to this day. And he acknowledged multiple times that it's a genocide. He acknowledged so many times that what was happening was horrible. And then he kept coming up with Israeli sources, basically propaganda and shit like that, not looking into any of the Palestinian like media that has been come out, or like any of the how do I say it? Any of the journalism that was going on, boots on the ground. He was just calling it all propaganda and going with Israel's say and stuff. Like, that is the weakest, like, the weakest way you could do any research, you know? Oh my god, this is the first thing I found. Let's see. Let's see. What the fuck? No, I'm not gonna like dive into this shit. It's because it's literally a fucking genocide. Him saying that he doesn't want to call it a genocide doesn't help anything. And that's from a few days ago. Yeah, this is a big critique that I have with him. He won't use the actual language for what's actually happening to people because he just doesn't like it. And he'll come up with any excuse. Like, any excuse. It doesn't matter if, like, the actual data and the research and the people who teach this at, like, a scholastic level are like, oh, this is what's happening. Do you see the issue? You won't look at what he says and then you say what you think he's doing. Bro, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, like, the shit that he says, I've watched a lot of his shit. And up until like a month ago, he says that, like, his critique, right, in all this whole video and everything, is that calling it as genocide is just virtue signaling, basically. That's his perspective. Which is, like, fucked up. Did you see the Finkelstein stuff? Yeah? Oh my gosh. Please do not, like, defend him, you know? He's saying that people don't actually care about the dead people and that sort of thing. Like, that's still not, like, a good argument. Like, we could watch the clip, and I could critique the clip, which I normally don't critique people. But this motherfucker, like, it doesn't make sense to me, IMO. And I'm not trying to be, like, a whole dick or whatever and try to, like, throw someone's name through the mud. I don't understand why you like him when he's just, like, I just don't, like, he comments on things that I don't think people should. You don't like him as a person, but you like his information. But his information is so biased by his personal perspective. Like, fuck it. We're gonna look at it. No, I'm not logged into X. I think that's fine. I can't believe I'm doing this for you. Alright. No, I'm not gonna log in. Okay, it's like a minute and a half of the clip, okay? Okay.
The fact that you mentioned October 7th like 40 times.
Yeah.
Since that time, you could only mention one day. And your excuse is, oh, the numbers. You can't even let journalists in there to get the right numbers. That's number one. And your excuse is because of the numbers. So basically, since they suck at genocide, they can't be genocidal.
You don't care about any of the dead people. You understand that, right?
I don't.
If you want to sit up here and you want to obsess over the use of one term, and then you want to go back to the status quo, which, by the way,
yeah, it's like, how can you fucking say that someone doesn't care about the dead people or whatever? That's not really his place.
Anyway, that's famous.
And he
Israel.
posted
The status
this
quo is
himself.
good for them. If you just want to obsess over the word, like, fine, the whole world can say it's a genocide. How far have they gotten? How much is the Declaration of Genocide from the 57th Independent UN Commission? How much closer? No, tell me. How much closer has it gotten them to an actual peaceful agreement? We're at the 20-point plan, which is Netanyahu's wet dream. How much of the genocide accusations helped? I want you to tell me how much the genocide accusations have helped.
I'm going to tell you how it helps.
Okay.
And he calls it accusations. Like, he doesn't acknowledge that it actually happened.
Answer my question.
How many
I want you to tell
were children?
I want you to tell me how much has the genocide accusations helped? How much closer are we now than we were to October 6th?
It has helped a lot because when that word started being brought out, more investigations started happening. And people started doing it, and organizations that are not affiliated with either side started putting their foot forward and saying, hey, let's see if this is actually true. These numbers haven't moved up. at the scale that they were moving up at a point. Let's see why that is. Where are journalists? Why aren't our organizations that are unaffiliated not being allowed in? Why is aid not being there? Why are people starving? All of that happened because we started using those trigger words. So because we started using
those, right, the reason why the dude that's going against him.
So nothing's happened. Nothing will happen.
You don't, it's just, I'm not going to dive super deep into it, but, like, he's just not acknowledging anything. Like, he literally isn't. He's, like, calling the genocide allegations when, at the global scale, it's literally been confirmed to be a genocide. Like, just because it's just fucking bullshit. Even a majority, not even a majority, but there's a ton of fucking American politicians who are finally accepting that it is a genocide. So I don't know. He's just, what he's saying is so uneducated because he's not even willing to use the terminology of what it actually is. If you talk to anybody in the field who's a reputable source for this information, like a professor, a journalist who has like boots on the ground, like someone who doesn't have any financial, I don't know, like a financial reason to say Israel isn't doing anything bad or whatever, they will say that's a fucking genocide. Like, he calls it accusations. He won't even acknowledge that that's what it is. To me, that's not a reputable source. Like, it's just not. Arbor says, who? We're talking about Destiny. And I just started doing more research into him. I'm not trying to shit on you, Darius. I'm just like, ugh, it just makes me upset to talk about. Because I just don't think he does a lot of research, IMO. Because otherwise he wouldn't feel comfortable saying that or arguing it or even promoting it on his personal platform. Oh, hell yeah, bad faith all the way. Dari says, I know, Josie, I'm big and ugly enough to deal with you having a different opinion. Big and ugly enough? Bro, what the fuck is that? But yeah, I don't know. We were talking about him before, and everyone talks about him, and everyone's like, UK expression in it. Everyone always, like, defends him, or he's, like, super polarizing, and I've just been like, I'm not going to get involved in that. But I don't know. You could show me, like, tons of clips of his shit, and the vibe, how do I say this in, like, the nicest way possible? It feels like he's trying to promote himself as someone who's highly educated, but doesn't have the backing to, like, really prove that, you know? Because his takes don't align with that. His resources don't align with that. It seems like he'll just go to the highest bidder with most stuff. And that's my opinion. Arbor says, looks and sound like a word mercenary to me, shrug. Yeah. IMO. I think he could do better, but I think he can be a little inflated with what he does. IMO. Yeah. It's like a money thing. What do you think the point was there? I don't really think he has a lot of a point in what he says. I think he just wants to be right. Like, that's the vibe out of, like, a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing about him. It just feels like not even feels like watching his stuff, it's like, it doesn't seem like he wants to learn about things, because otherwise he would interact with his audience differently, or he would, like, be willing to shift his perspective if he's proven wrong, which he's usually not. He just stands 10 toes down and he's just like, this is how it fucking is. So, like, I don't understand what the point of what he does is. Like, is he doing it for attention? Because that's a good way to get attention, which is why I haven't paid attention to him or, like, acknowledged him a lot on stream, because it just seems like attention farming, you know? It was at an anti-Trump rally. Yeah. That's fine. You can be anti-Trump and still, like, want attention, you know? Arbor says you don't ever change your point in a debate. That's even an option. It's not a debate. here's the thing. But I'm not the person debating, you know? And in his content that I've seen online, like clips of his streams and shit like that, which to be fair, I haven't watched like a full stream or whatever to like judge him because it frustrates me. But I've seen like at least an hour or two of his shit. I think he treats everything like a debate. Like he's not willing to like look for knowledge and stuff. IMO. Arvis says one of the reasons why I find 9 out of 10 of those a waste of time. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It does show you what their perspective is, like what they're willing to like go 10 toes down on. Because I know Charlie Kirk made it really popular for people to be like I'm right, you're wrong, and like let's sit in a booth and debate each other or whatever. But why would you try to prove a point by arguing for like an op or whatever? I don't know. I just don't get it. Daria says, and he was saying that concentrating on things like branding it as a genocide doesn't lead to anything productive as peace plan is exactly what Netanyahu wanted. I understand that. But he was using strict terminology like genocide accusations, never accepting or acknowledging that it was in fact a genocide. Or that what happening, because, you know, Israel is still doing its fucking bullshit right now, so that it's still ongoing. It has not stopped. Daria says, debates are fairly pointless, but it's always good to see two ideologies coming up against each other directly. Or Shapiro, a joke not everyone gets. Yeah. I understand what you mean by debates being pointless, because from my perspective, they can be very annoying. But it's not even two ideologies most of the time. It's just the person's personal perspective. And usually who wins the debate is the person who can get the other person to crack emotionally first. That's usually what debates are. It's like that's who wins nowadays. It's not even about like the information you bring to the table, how good you are, how informed you are. It's about how quickly can you get under someone else's skin. And then you look like the winner. And it matters because people want to pay attention to that. But from my perspective, what he was saying didn't even seem like he was making any point, honestly. Because if he was trying to say anything pro-Palestinian whatsoever, saying the genocide accusations is not a good way to fucking do it, because it's literally a fucking genocide. And oh god, I don't even know why I'm discussing this. Holy shit. But it's just, it doesn't seem like he's actually proving anything. Like IMO. Daria says, like, Prime Minister's question time is one of the greatest things in our political system. To directly challenge those in power might be useless in practice, but are powerful in principle. But he wasn't really doing that, though. He's talking to random people. Just random people. At most, it's gathering data and information about who would be potentially good at something, or like just like a case study of the overall public there. But even then, you don't have enough data to go off of. Anyways, Arbor says Shapiro, Destiny, and so many more. That debate style is simply about getting your list of talking points out while hindering the opponent. Yeah. Or while someone's list. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. It's not really like, it doesn't feel authentic. Like listening to his content and what he says, maybe it is authentic. Maybe this is actually what he believes in. But even then, that perspective is a lot of like the whole world, like this is how I view Destiny. Like the whole world is like out to get my perspective, and I am the one who has the truth. And if there is a middle ground in everything, that's like, it seems like he's trying to be moderate, you know, in a situation that does not call for collaboration. Like it's an actual serious thing. And when he was like, oh, well, you're just getting your feelings involved and stuff like that, that's what he's doing. Like, he says that he's, like, emotionless or whatever, and he's trying to, like, look at it directly. But the thing is when you turn off your humanity in situations where people are getting hurt to that extent, you have nothing to stand on. Like, you really don't, because then people can't trust you. Yeah. Daria says, like, I'm well aware I'm not going to watch this. We're not going to watch this, but I've actually seen this video. It's a better example, I think. Oh, this is, like, long as fuck. Is he actually in the West Bank here? Because that's interesting. I might watch that in my own time. Or is he just in Israel and saying that, like, he's going to the West Bank or whatever? He's in the actual West Bank. It's more than some political streamers will do. I will give him that. But I want to know the actual conditions of him being there. I'm going to watch that in my own time because I'm curious about it. Daria says, Arbor says, reminds me of my own headspace at 5 years old, still in childish narcissism. Yeah. And he just fights Zionists. But how does he do it? Does he do it by centering it around himself, or does he do it by platforming the people who need to have their voices heard? Because that's what matters to me. Like, are you gonna sit there and, like, just kind of be, like, playing both sides by saying things like, oh, an alleged genocide, alleged and shit like that, and then go there and then try to, like, be like, see, I'm not for either side. I'm going here and I'm, like, talking against these people because I don't trust him. It's about the history mainly. Even more distrust here. Because I don't know, from what I've seen, I don't trust a lot of the shit that he does. IMO. This was May 28th, 2025. I'll read it, or I'll look into it and I'll watch it or whatever. And I'm curious about it. I don't know. Are you a Sigma Polar Bear? Your name's funny. Skibbity. You shouldn't read the whole thing. Are you advocating for taxing the rich people? Yeah, hell yeah. But I don't think that. I think that the way a lot of left-leaning politicians like AOC and Zoran and stuff like that, and even Bernie Sanders, who are approaching taxing the rich, they need to increase the amount that they're taxing the rich. So actually, like, the rich aren't accumulating wealth as drastically. Instead of doing, like, what is it, like 3% or something, which has been argued for a really long time, I think it should be a little bit higher and then gradually go down as the wealth distribution becomes more equalized. IMO. Daria says, we'll dive more into that later if you guys want to, because I'm very interested in that conversation. But I feel like a lot of people who are actually politicians in power don't take it far enough, you know? Usury is the main problem. Oh wait, let me go back. Daria says, like, I'm not a Destiny superfan, Josie. I've told you this so many times. I've always said his research and approach to online politics is something I think is clearly at a higher level than 99% of the rest. I don't know. I think this West Bank video is going to be a good example, but, like, you can't really get past, like, pedophilia allegations, you know? Like, and having his own son come out and say that shit, I don't know, but his own son has his own scandals. Like, it's also layered. Like, everything this is why I haven't touched any of his shit, because everything surrounding Destiny literally is just a cesspool of, like, holy fucking shit. Just holy fucking shit. It's, like, worse than talking about Hassan. Because at least with Hassan, he has some pretty good takes, and he usually keeps his personal life private. But Destiny does not do that.
Oh my god, are you talking about?
We're talking about Destiny!
Yo, I heard that man is currently in a legal battle over, like,
Tell chat.
Child porn.
He is! The child, like, fucking... The child pest allegations are, like, for real. And it doesn't matter, like, how good your content could be. It's like, you can't get past that. You can't be doing that shit, bro. Let's see.
Zionist L.
Arbor says, no need to tax, just abolish money, easy fix. I like the emo. Sorry, Sigma, you came here at a really interesting time. Daria says, the Destiny Hassan soap opera is something I do enjoy, though. Ooh! It's like a long-term wrestling storyline that's been going on for 8 years. I don't know. I try not to dive deep into it. I respect Hassan for like not taking the bait with a lot of it anymore, but he just needs to do the same shit with Ethan Klein shit, because it's the same story, different verse, a little bit louder, a little bit worse. And he's like fucking succumbs to drama all the time. Because he's like I don't know him as a person, but he seems like someone who just like wants to defend himself. And that's what they want you to do, because then they can keep fucking with you. Just let people do their shit. Don't even try to take actions of like trying to be like, see, look, like I have these people, because then it's just gonna look worse. You gotta let your truth and your reality speak for yourself, unless it's drastic enough that you have to speak for yourself. You know, like if you're getting like smear campaigns, you say your thing once, you say it once, and then you don't address it anymore. You let people do their fucking shit, and then it all dies down. But the more that you feed into it by defending yourself, the worse it fucking gets. And it makes me so sad. I'm just like, stop. I want to shake the people. And this isn't just like that drama. It's like every online drama that I see. People just keep feeding into it. I just want to shake them. I want to be like, stop fucking feeding into it. If you are right, it will come to light eventually. Like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You're making it worse for yourself. Believe me, I fucking know. Like, just shut the fuck up. Like, you just got it. If people have bad intentions for you, let them expose themselves by just keep doing the horrible, nasty shit that they've been fucking doing. If you keep feeding into it by being like, oh, this is exactly what happened, this is a drama. Like, sure, in the moment, when it first happens, yeah, do your fucking thing. But eventually, you have to let that shit go so you can become bigger and better, and, like, stop, like, looking like you're begging for your audience to like appreciate you, because that just makes you look like it makes you look fucking weak. Like, don't do that shit. It makes you look tacky and weak. Don't do that. Any person, even in your personal life, don't fucking do that. It's just like, oh my god, like it just makes it worse. Anyways, George says hi, Andrew. Andrew is currently taking a piss, so he's far away now. Arbor says Destiny is shady AF. Not sure if this can work, but maybe try to spot the BS. He talks fast and eloquent. That's why I think of Ben Shapiro, but that's it. Yeah. It's kind of true. Arbor says, and yes, the community is a giant problem all over. Yeah. When you have people who will do the dirty work for you, you don't have to go there and be like, oh, you know, blah, blah, blah. You just have to say one fucking thing. Like the whole dog drama with Hassan or whatever, that was blown so out of fucking proportion, because all that happened is Ethan Klein said one speculative take and his audience ran with it. And then Destiny's audience fucking ran with it, because it's all over their subreddit too. And like literally, like I said, they're all three fucking linked together. And like, I sit there and I'm just like, just don't feed into it. Don't do anything different. Live your life. Do one explainer. Don't try to like do extra things with your dog. Don't try to like do any extra whatever. Do your normal casual thing and then leave it be. Leave it be, because people are going to, like, if you start trying to play into it and being like, oh, look at this, look at, I have this, I have this, I have this, you're literally gonna make people think that you have something that you're hiding, because you're overcompensating at that point. You don't need to overcompensate. This is like PR 101. Like, if you have done anything public facing, this is what they teach you in PR training. Like, I'm not joking with you. You say your shit once. You have your meltdown, let it last a little while or whatever, and then once that's over, you don't try to overcompensate and be like, oh, I'm doing this so I'm better because I'm doing this because I'm better. That's like the worst thing that you can do. Honestly, stepping back from it and just like letting things play out is the best case scenario. That is just how it is. Darius says, I think it's because Hassan understands the power of narratives. It's similar to Trump in a lot of ways. You need to control the story of something rather than getting into the particulars. But if you wanted to control the story of something, you would exaggerate other things. Like, you wouldn't overcompensate. That's the thing. Overcompensation and exaggeration are two separate things, and there's a fine fucking line. And every single fucking person who, and I'm not saying I'm the best at this for sure, because I don't have like a large platform or whatever, but when you have people who are watching you, you have to pay close attention to, is this going to look like overcompensating or is this controlling the narrative? If you're trying to make up for something and be like, see, look, I do this, this, and this, and like proving yourself, that's overcompensating. You are overcompensating. That is making things worse. But if you're proving yourself and being like, hey, these are the terms and like the times that I've done this, these are the examples. Like if he was sitting there and he was like, this is the stuff I've done, here's a stream evidence of me doing this, like just laying all the facts out, that's not overcompensating. Going there and trying to do extra stuff, like to be like, see, no, I'm like this, I'm like that, that is overcompensating. There's a fine fucking line. And I have not seen Twitch streamers actually understand how to do good fucking PR ever. Ever. And I'm not saying my PR is the best. I intentionally have put my shit out on the internet, but even then, I've kept so much fucking shit private to the extent where people can only speculate, and then I don't address it over and over again or dive deep into it. I had my crash out literally 3 fucking streams. I've had 3 streams where I've crashed out. None of that shit is like recent. It's like over a fucking year ago. And even then, I was just crying. I wasn't doing anything like trying to overcompensate for anything and be like, see, I'm like this, or trying to prove myself. I was just like, this is the shit. This is who I am. This is the evidence of me being like this. Move on. Like, it's just, no one can use that shit against you because it's literally fucking evidence. But if you're overcompensating, GG gamer, you're fucked. Like, it's so much harder to come back from a PR spin like that. It's just, Anyways, Daria says, it seems very PR coded to me. It was like when a politician had an affair and goes out somewhere in public with his wife, but this time it was Hassan with his dog going to the No Kings. Yeah, and even if, I don't know about that one, because maybe he was planning on doing it anyways. I don't know. I don't know about that one, honestly. Him wearing a bulletproof vest while doing it, I don't know. He's a public figure. There's been a lot of, like, sniper stuff. I don't fucking know. I'm not gonna have any say in that shit. But do your everyday thing and don't push. Don't discuss it too much. Just laugh it off and be like, oh my god, it's so funny that they're trying to do that. Like, if you make it a fucking joke, it doesn't fucking matter anymore. Like, oh my god. It is, like, it would be PR if he was trying to make a show of his dog and make his dog, like, the center of attention for an extended period of time. If he just lets her be, then he's fine. Anyways. Let's see. Arbor says, I'm so confused by dog stuff. Like, who honestly thought that mattered? You're right, it doesn't matter. Could just be a guy with his dog. Shrug. No, exactly, Arbor, exactly. And I'm not saying that he's doing a lot of overcompensation or whatever. I'm just saying that, I mean, with the whole black scandal, like, it did come off as a little bit of overcompensation, especially since he didn't explicitly say whether or not having, the Black Podcast Bros on, and like, it's just, there's lots of little things that he does that can be perceived as overcompensation. Like, I see this shit, I clock it, I just don't discuss this shit online because I stream. People send me this shit. Andrew talks to me about it, everyone talks to me about it in my personal life. They're like, you stream, have you heard about this drama? And I'm like, I don't fucking know these people, but I guess I know about the drama now. Like, whatever. Let's see. Daria says, that seems like cost of PR to me. We've seen that kind of stuff for decades. Daria says, because it's a narrative, it's a story, and stories always have bigger grip on people than anything else. It's part of our psychological makeup. Yes and no. Yes and no. Because if a story, like, Trump has had so many stories about him sexually assaulting women, like, women literally coming out, like the Stormy Daniels scandal, where he literally, like, had sex with a sex worker and tried to silence her with money and all of this crazy shit, and like the assaults and everything like that, you know? And I think he assaulted Stormy Daniels or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember the whole thing. It was a while ago. But there was lots of incidences around Stormy Daniels. And people were like, nah, I still like him. And then people were like, oh, well, you know, yeah, he's, like, assaulted many people, but I still like him. And then people were like, oh, well, yeah, you know, he, maybe he was really good friends with Epstein and went to the island a lot, but I still like him. And then the note comes out about him, like writing a personal birthday letter to Epstein or whatever, but they still like him anyways. It doesn't fucking matter what narrative you spin if people are committed to someone. So if people are committed to not liking you, they will take anything out there to dislike you. You can't manipulate that unless you discredit the person who gave that information out. And if they are more committed to the person who was distributing the false information or trying to spin a narrative, then it doesn't matter what you fucking say. They will never care. That is how reality works. So when people are like, oh, the stories matter, it's not the stories that matter, it's who the stories come from that matter. That is all that matters. That's why I'm saying it's pointless to defend yourself and go to crazy extents trying to fight a narrative. When people are committed to not understanding you, they will do everything in their power to not understand you. Just look at so many people who have been in the public eye who have just been fucking hit on, just like dogged on. Like Britney Spears. She literally shaved her head and had a fucking breakdown because people wouldn't understand her narrative was different than what the media was trying to do to her. They were stalking her. They were doing horrible fucking shit. That's an extreme example. But shit goes on forever. Arbor says there's more than one narrative around Trump. Maybe a good example of what kind of people get caught up in which. Yeah, that is true. Dario says the key narrative around Trump is he's saving the country. The rest doesn't matter because that's the one MAGA is the grip of and use that as the basis for everything. It's not even like just MAGA though. Like that's the thing. However says to his more desperate supporters, other groups see other things in him. Some people are just like, oh, well, you know, he's like pro-money. So that means if he's president, I don't really care about how he does anything else. All I care about is my money and being sure that I can have financial stuff. A lot of people only, like, people vote based off of a couple of different things. The majority of the times that people actually vote for someone, it's because they're aligned by the party, not necessarily the actual person that they're voting for. Sometimes people vote for personal values or because they see themselves in the other person. So that could be physically, historically, so that person's background, or even what they promote, their values, and so on and so forth. Even gender, like marital status and all that sort of thing files into that category. And then you have people who vote for like singular issues. So if abortion rights or whatever matter to someone, whether that be like pro-abortion or anti-abortion or whatever, they will vote for a candidate that just reflects that. And I have relatives who were like that, who, oh man, who didn't really like Trump as a person, who acknowledged that what Trump did was really bad, but they were so anti-abortion that all of that went to the wayside because they were a single issue voter. It's just crazy. Dario says, yes, but do you see how that story narrative overpowers everything else like an apex predator? That's exactly the same principle of this dog stuff with Hassan. It's not, though. It's not. It's the fact that people have a predisposed perspective and they, like, when people are researching something, Destiny is a great example of this. This is what I've been trying to mention the whole time. He has a preconceived bias that when he is looking for new information, he is trying to fulfill that bias. He is trying to reinforce that bias. It doesn't matter how true it is. And when something aligns with the narrative that you are trying to promote just enough, it doesn't matter how factually true it is. It just matters that, oh, this seems good enough. And then it's cherry picking. That's another, like, analogy for it. Let's see. Arbor says the same was true for Hitler, by the way. That's why they abused the term socialist to get the workers. Yeah, that is kind of true. Daria says, and the countryside, too, it was the same story. Saving the countryside. No, saving the country. Sorry. Yeah. I was like, what do you mean by that? But they say that they want to do, like, saving, that they want to do all that stuff, but people, when they are looking into things, they want to affirm their biases that they already have. In understanding that about yourself, you can be less likely to fall prey into that, and you can be a more informed voter, consumer of media, products, literally whatever. but it takes you understanding, oh, I want this to be true. So like when you see something and you're watching it, are you going to sit there and be like, oh, I want this to be true? So you're going to look for more information to reinforce that. Or if you say, oh, I don't want that to be true, you're going to look for information to say it's not true. So if you understand your bias, that first thought that comes into your head, you need to go against that, and you need to, like, how do I say this in the best way? You need to be like, oh, this is my bias. I need to look up more information that goes against that. And then you can be more informed. Anyways, not to try to argue with the information that you're saying, but to understand the other perspective and how reputable that information can be for you. Arbor says, being a good status quo politician is crucial to serve multiple narratives. That's why a lot of their wording is so very Weasley. And that's also why Trump was able to get super popular, because he didn't back down with his personality, and he decided to be an asshole on stage and behind the scenes in ways that we haven't seen in politics in a very long time, since like our founding fathers era, which they were fucking nasty as hell to each other. They were so nasty. Daria says, go look at any period in your history and you'll find the same three narratives are always repeated because those narratives resonate harder and consistently across people. Okay, what are those narratives? Give me the examples, sir. Arba says the pronoun we is a simple example. It really invites to be interpreted differently by different groups. It's the shadiest pronoun. We. We. Nah, man. I just, how do I put it? In the best way possible. We. Arbor. No, saying things inclusive, that's very manipulative language, by the way. Like, if someone were to talk to you and be like, well, you want this, right? Like, I know you want this. I know that we are going to do this and stuff like that. It's very manipulative. So if anyone is coming to you and they're like, you want this, don't you? Instead of asking you what you want, or being like, you need this to be like better or whatever, instead of like giving you multiple options, super manipulative. That's how you know if someone's like doesn't have your intentions like set out for you. They're just like, oh, making a lot of demands. They're not allowing you the freedom to choose what would be best for you. And if you see people doing that shit, that's a huge fucking red flag. Like, if they want you to just play along with what they say or what they think is best for you, rather than you having options to be the best person you can be, super big fucking red flag. Like, do not trust them. Maybe you're forced to be around them proximity-wise, but red flag, yo. Just fucking red-ass flag. Not even the communism, like, good flag, Laval. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Chill. Daria says, the entire world is in a grip of immigration at the moment, and it has been there for centuries because of basic human psychology. Yeah. No, that is true, and borders make it really hard. Even Bernie has, like, talked about, like, Trump and borders, and, like, how America needs to reinforce borders and stuff like that, which, I don't know. I think people misconstrued the open borders argument a lot by thinking that we shouldn't protect our borders, but that's a whole nother discussion. Let's see. Arbor says, and then there's they, and it gets ugly. Yes, like demonizing a whole group of people by making super, hi Ollie, he's here by the way. I don't know if you can see his nose. But by making super vague statements about people that the general public wouldn't be as informed about, and biases of culture and stuff like that, you find something that people don't understand about someone and you demonize it, instead of piquing their curiosity and being like, oh, maybe they're like this. Like, why would someone make that decision, you know? Demonizing them and calling them less than because it's easier than trying to understand. That's what they arguments are. Like, oh god. Like saying that homeless people who become addicts are worse than rich people who become addicts. Because being an addict only makes sense if you have capital, you know? Because as a public, will sympathize people who are super rich and like get on heroin or have like meth addictions or whatever, which lots of people that are super popular or really rich do have those addictions. And they are functional with it because they are rich. They can afford to like have more moderation and that sort of thing and whatever. But when you're poor and no one cares about you and you're basically sitting on the street, your life's at an all-time low, everyone treats you like fucking shit, and you decide to like try drugs or whatever, you're objectively worse because your pain and how you're trying to drown out your pain is your fault rather than someone who is like super rich and trying to drown out their sorrows. Like, what the fuck? It's just, it's a double-edged, like, it's like, there's no reason to, like, say one party is better than the other. You know? But people demonize poor people who are addicts over rich people who are addicts all the time. All the time. And there's lots of layers that go into it, but that's just one example that kind of goes out of politics or whatever. Oh, let's see. Barry says many people are saying that is also another like it's oh, what's that fallacy called? It's like the appeal to authority fallacy, saying that the majority of people who are talking about a topic go a certain way, and that people view either an authority figure or the majority of the population to be an authority. So if you're not following the crowd and you're not doing that, then there's something wrong with you. So they use the appeal to authority fallacy of like, oh, well, I was talking to blah, blah, blah about this, and they say you're like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, there is no background. You don't even have evidence of them saying that. It's just whatever. Like, just because your friends jumped off a bridge, are you gonna do that too? Bullshit. Anyways, Arbor says there have been and are, oh, also hi to Hammy. Sorry to not say hi. Arbor says there have been and are contexts and cultures where most people just don't have a problem with migration, for example. Europe has been on that shit trip for a while though, true, but that didn't come out of human psychology itself, but history and our cultures. Yeah, and Europe had a huge amount of people in a small, compact area of land. And when it comes to resource hunting and farming and also naval stuff, like usually I think it was primarily naval fleets and the individualization of trades that really caused Europe to become a lot more hostile with their borders. Because that is also what dissolved stuff like the Silk Road and made it more null and void and blah blah blah. Dari says, I'd argue it's a fairly clear base of in-group and out-group behaviors. Yeah, that's what the appeal to authority is. Like, oh, you know, all the cool people are doing this, all the people you look up to are doing this, so therefore you should do this. Bruh, no. Chill the fuck out. Arbor says those differ from person to person. True. Tammy says, what's the topic, guys? Oh, lots of different things. We're talking about narratives, publicity. We were talking about destiny for a while, which is its whole big fucking can of worms. Anything and everything, honestly. Narratives at the moment. Yeah. Oh. Darius says, even the phrase of our culture is a clear demonstration of group behavior. And I think it's important to understand when someone is appealing to you and they're being very, very vague. So, like, let's say you're listening to Trump or whatever. A lot of his speaking, he doesn't really say explicitly, like, oh, white America or black America or whatever. Or like, tries to pigeonhole his base into, like, one, fucking group of people, right? Like, he's just saying, well, us and we, and he never dives into the specifics of what his base could be like or the culture of his base. He's like, we as MAGA or whatever understand that this has to be a certain day, or MAGA understands that blah blah blah. So he like speaks for everybody, and he tells people how they should feel, but he doesn't even address who MAGA even is, or the undertones and the culture that could be for America as a whole either. It's just implied. So anybody watching it can be like resonating with the information, even if it doesn't hold, like, even if the rest of the policies or that person's actions actively go against you as a person. Tammy says, cool topic. Ooh, it's spicy. We haven't talked like this in a while. Let's see. Daria says, and one that, if I'm correct, has evolved in basically every dialect and language because the notion of it is ingrained into human behavior. Narratives? Yeah, I guess so. Brothers Grimm. Arbor says, Germany, for example, doesn't have a shared culture. The appeal to it is a play. Yeah, no, it's true. And that's why the idea of there being an overall culture for a certain region is very ridiculous, especially in a place like America. Like, the culture of America is going to be different in the Southwest versus the Northeast versus the Plains. That's why we have to divide it into so many regions. That's why when you talk to foreigners, they either only know about New York City or Texas or Los Angeles, but they don't understand the other aspects of American culture. And trying to appeal to all aspects of American culture is very difficult because people have more rights now. Like, it's not like you could exclude entire, like, double-digit percentages of the population of a country and be like, oh, well, this group, like, white America is like this, so therefore that's what the culture is. It's, now that people have more rights, have the, not saying that everything is 100% equal, don't get me wrong, but now that people are on more of a level playing field and we're slowly going into that direction, you can't pretend that we have a monoculture. It doesn't exist. Let's see. Daria says, yeah, but it's the narrative, isn't it, Josie? The facts don't matter. It's the immigrant success story of America that matters, which is fake. It's so fake. Like, I worked at a historical building where I literally was told to lie to people and say that this dude had a really big, how do I say it? Like, he was self-made, he didn't have to do anything on his own or whatever, but literally, he had nepotism. Like, the only reason why he was in the business that he was is because his family was in the business. His family was super successful, and he was successful because he went into a city that was starting to grow very quickly and decided to build up a shit ton of real estate during a recession and exploit that. That's the only way that he made his fucking money. But then the narrative that they told the public was that he was like some left-leaning person who gave back to the community and did all this and he's self-made and stuff like that, when that was never what happened to him. Like, it's just, it pisses me off, bro. Anyways, Arbor says, oh, Tammy says, I'm talking about Brothers Group. Okay, that makes more sense. Arbor says, y'all don't have sidewalks, but you do have Confederate flags hanging from the porches of your houses. I was in Georgia once. Yeah, the South is really notorious for that, too. Arbor says, no one ever wants to talk about the ring of the Nibelung Sag, but I get it. It's a little old. Bro. Daria says, I'm sure Arberlin will understand it better, but I thought the Brothers Grimm were like the start of German nationalism by using stories as kind of an origin story for Germany. I guess so. I will talk to you about that, no problem. One of the bases behind Lord of the Rings, yeah. Especially the corruption of people by gold. Yeah. There's lots of different layers that go into stuff for sure. If I'm being real, I don't know. Arbor says, to me, it's the clash of two ideals of a woman. Wait, what do you mean? Are you talking about Grimm's? Or are we talking about, like, what are you talking about? Okay. It's more than one narrative in it, too. Okay, I get what you mean. Brothers Grimm. I didn't really read a lot of that. I read it when I was in middle school for class. Mother Nature / Country or Actual Women. Let's see. Arbor says the Nibelungs, a Germanic text from like 1,000 years ago. Oh. Nibelungs? Nibelungs? Nibelungs. Oh my god. I'm dyslexic as fuck. But it itself is a mix of other stories, yeah. It's an epic poem. Okay. I vibe. Hi, Google. Oh. Niflunger. Let's see. So the myth, it's an epic poem written around 12,000 Middle High German. Its anonymous poet was likely from This Is Just Wiki, which is more reputable than AI, just so you guys know. Just so you know. Just so you know. Just so you know. Wagner opera with the Ride of the Valkyries is based on it. Oh, okay. Arbor says, is it a tragedy? Everyone died in the end and all. Yeah. Comedy is a happy one, technically. Yeah, that's true. Wow! Some comedies were very tragic. Wasn't, oh my god. There's a lot of Shakespearean comedies that ended tragically. Yeah. It's called a tragic comedy. It's a genre that blends both tragic and comic forms. Black comedies and satires, like satirical comedies. Let's see. Arbor says Wagner was a simpleton about it, though. I hate his reading. Darius says Merchant of Venice is technically a comedy because he converts to Christianity in the end. The good ending. Oh, I've never seen the opera Beyond the Big Tune. Oh, low-key, I kind of like operas. I think they're kind of fun. Watching people be like, I'm not even gonna sing right now, but I've liked operas for a while. They're really interesting. Arbor says it's pretty Greek in that regard. The characters all get plenty of warnings and create their own downfall in the end. Oh, gee whiz, it's almost like what we were talking about earlier with PR. Darius says another example of the power of stories, they last longer than anything. The only reason why stories last, especially from that era, is because not a lot of stories were mass produced. Like the stories from our generation that are going to last a really long time are going to be the ones that are like written in stone, you know, or that everybody has. But even then, the original like meaning of it is going to be gone. Like people will be like, wow, you see this meme? They're all worshiping like Cat's Eye or whatever. Or I don't know, because there was like a meme with like Cat's Eye where their one song, or their one advert was like slowed down. They have a ton of people in a circle, and the one person in the center is doing My Milkshake Brings All the Boys to the Yard, you know? And and everyone in the circle, it's like black and white, and they're all like holding each other and like doing like weird shit. It's funny. Anyways, but people could be like, they were worshiping Cat's Eye. Cat's Eye was like a religious tune. Like a lot of stuff like that loses the test of time, you know? And it has to be written down and it has to be like preserved in that manner because the internet decays so much too. Anyways, I don't know. I'm going too deep into the weeds. Troy has captured people for over 2.5 thousand years. That is true. Tammy says, I don't mean anything bad, but why the German names are so hard to read? Because German. Arbor says, but also their ambiguity. That text has been read and written in all sorts of ways. That's true. Same with like lots of things from like Brothers Grimm. It's been modernized with the time to the point where people will consume a lot of Brothers Grimm like related content and media or whatever, but they don't understand the references. Daria says, I know it doesn't. Terminator is just another version of the Minotaur. You get the same kind of stories repeated across cultures and time. It can be. It can be, but that kind of dives into the idea of there is no original content, which, as someone who's really involved in the arts, like, I've written music, I do theater productions, I help out, I like musicals and that sort of thing. Fucking fight me, I don't give a shit. I like dance, I like painting, I like literally playing instruments and stuff. Am I great at all of these things? Fuck no. But do I love it all? Yeah, it's super awesome. It's just the more you learn about doing art and creating your own unique art form, is that nothing you do is original. It's all taken from bits, like accumulative knowledge. So just as this is a great example, just like any intellectual, anything that you consume is based off of years and years and years of researching and history and everybody building off of the backs of other people's information that came before them. And it gets more and more complicated. Art is very similar. And it's really fun. But let's see. Arbor says you can tell the same story and have it mean different things entirely. That's true. It's all tonal. Tone focus. Like if I'm like, you're a stupid, I can't even fucking say it. But if I like call you a bitch, I'm just like, you're a stupid bitch or whatever, you guys aren't gonna take it seriously. But I can't do it seriously right now because I'm bad at acting, okay? Fuck, I can't, that's a bad example. But like, assume that I'm saying you're a stupid bitch, like super fucking seriously, okay? Hi, Ollie. Thank you, okay. But yeah, it's like the tone of it matters. And if it's like written down, people can kind of assume the tone more than other things. They like cherry pick it to match what they believe, whatever. Let's see. Tahami says, I think that's why it's hard but unique. That's true. Daria says, it's not that there's no original content, it's more the universal building blocks like DNA or something. No, but there is no original content. Like, if you were to get rid of all history, everything like that, and have people make things from scratch, that would be original. But even then, people will take things from nature and build off of it. Like, planes were literally based off of flying squirrels and birds. Literally, the nose tip of planes that are like bombers and shit like that is like slightly arched down like a beak because it's more aerodynamic. And lots of other reasons. I'm not going to dive super deep into that. But people, if there's no inspiration to take from those who have come before you, you take it from those around you. We are not original. You know how like AI is a language learning model where it takes all of the information that came before it and then it just compiles it into an answer that would be best for you? That is what the world is. That is what everything is. You are not original. And sorry if this gives you an ego death, I apologize, but nothing you do is original. It's just what makes it original is how you compile the data and present it to the world. That's why art is so beautiful. That's why presenting things to everybody is just so amazing. I love it so much. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Jordan Peterson time. This is a vibe. Arvo says, again, I disagree. Jordan Peterson thinks that and therefore tries to revive and hijack the same old stories. But that just makes him seem silly and out of touch. Is he alive, by the way? Anyway, moving on. Yeah, like, I don't know. He had it, oh my god. He had like a whole fucking meltdown online. Not trying to like exploit another person's like downfall. Oh my god, I'm doing a lot of that shit today. I mean, technically, he's the only one going through like a proper downfall. But he literally, like, his daughter came out and said he was like having severe like mental health issues or whatever, and he probably had like a psychotic break because he did have an ego death. Like, everything that he built his entire platform on, he got called out for being unoriginal, and he started veering into the political realm, which is related to psychology, but not as much as he wanted it to be, and it fucked him over because he was so in over his head. He was so cocky and overconfident, saying that he knew exactly what he was doing, and that's what fucked him over. This is what will be the downfall of other people like Destiny, too. I'm not even fucking joking. It's like the same fucking thing. They think they know a lot about a certain thing. They're not willing to accept when they're wrong about something, and then it's their downfall every time, because when they are proven wrong and they're forced to accept it, they cannot handle it because it's like years, you know? I don't know. It all depends on how far they take it. So, just saying. Just saying. Anyways, let's see. Darius says Peterson's basis is from Campbell, which I subscribe to. The idea of monomyth, his interpretation is a bit vague. It's intentionally vague because then he has to stand on shit. And when it comes to psychology or even like philosophy, the more vague you are, the easier you have to defend your arguments or whatever, because then you can bend it to whatever discussion you're having. The minute that you try to pigeon, this is why Jordan Peterson, I'm not going to dive super deep into it. I'm not going to, but this is like my, personally, I believe this is why Jordan Peterson doesn't necessarily like to admit his personal beliefs or perspectives, and he tries to just argue general concepts, because the minute that he has to defend his own personal belief system, he has to defend himself, and he understands that technically theoretically there are correct directions that you could be going, but there is no set correct path that you could go down. Otherwise you'd be constantly shifting positions, which he doesn't do. So then he'd be proving himself wrong. Anyways, let's see. Let's see. It's about finding repeated concept. Campbell's work also focused on how stories change in relation to society, such as the move of the hunter-gatherers. Let's see. Arbor says it never repeats. Stories, cultures, those are constantly being reinvented. But same story, different verse, a little bit louder, a little bit worse. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead. Skip ahead again. Darius says, look at religions. They always answer the same thing. How do we live? Where do we come from? Where do we go when we die? But then, this is me being argumentative. Technically, every religion is trying to answer different things, but the way that they come about it is very dictated on the culture that is surrounding the religion. Let's see. Arbor says with nibble lungs, knife lungs, fuck, I'm dyslexic. I find Fritz Lang's movie version to be a lot more interesting than Wagner's epic take. His version of Siegfried is close to Gatsby even, just a very different beast from Campbell's hero. Darius says, I've never seen Fritz Lang film unless he did a Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Arbor says, to me, that's very desperate desire for the world, but more simple, but it's not. Let's see. Tammy says, I think that because life just goes in the same direction, so it affects the stories in some way. That's fair. Okay, you guys are like, knee bell lungs. I needed that. Thank you, Arbor. This is like where dyslexia gets me, y'all. And people are like, read it, and I'm just like, it's like tick damage. It like hurts my soul because I'll fuck it up over and over again. Painful. But anyways, I really like talking about how things change over time and why people get invested in certain topics and that sort of thing, and why we see certain things kind of repeat, you know? Darius says it's a different language to you. Oh, Josie, that's not dyslexia. It is, because I was saying Nibelungs. So the L, like my brain was like taking the L and switching it as I was reading it with the E, and then it'd like go back, and I'd just be like Nibelungs. Yeah, that's dyslexia. It's literally when the letters like switch. So sometimes when I'm streaming and my dyslexia is worse that day, like if I haven't slept enough, if I like don't have my caffeine and shit like that, because I got ADHD too, baby. So I need a little bit of stimmy in me if you want me to be functional, you know? So, but I don't want to take ADHD meds because I'm at like higher risk of having like a stroke and everything, so I can't like take them super consistently because I won't have a stroke. Chat. But anyways, yeah, no, I'm dyslexic as fuck. So when you're like, read on stream, do more reading, I'm like, motherfucker. You want me to sit there and be like, oh, blah, blah. I look dumb as fuck. Like, I do read, but yeah. Dari says, I thought you decided your inability to speak German was because of dyslexia. No, I'm literally dyslexic. I can barely read. It's hard for me. So, like, Arabic is easier for me because it's like all, like, cursive is a lot easier for me to read in the same ways why Arabic is easier for me to read. So my dyslexia is not nearly as bad with Arabic because it all flows and it's all connected in a line. But when you have everything spaced apart, my dyslexia is like, nope. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Arbor says, our comedians are the worst. It will only bring you misery to understand them. Don't learn German. Darius says, I'm dyslexic as well, but it's mainly about spelling. I can read well, good. No, I can read okay. But here's the thing. When Twitch has been so good, not gonna lie, for me practicing with my dyslexia. When I first started streaming, I was fucking up. Not as much as, like, I did when I was starting to read when I was younger, but the whole reason why I got super invested in books and that sort of thing when I was a kid, and I read constantly, one, because I wasn't allowed to have any friends. And two, it's a whole different discussion. I'm not diving into that. And two, because I really struggled with reading. So I would get called on in class and I would be so anxious because I have anxiety, just so you know. I don't know if you could tell. But like I would be reading in front of the class and I would mess up and then people would come to me and make fun of me, like, you know, when we were like in PE or I don't know, like whatever. They would basically bully me and I hated it so much. So I would read so much shit so I could just like, and I'd read out loud. I would like whisper to myself so I could be better with it. I was really bad when I was younger though. It was rough. Like I would take spelling tests and I'd fuck it up. And math, oh my god. Oh my god. Like I am good at math, but my dyslexia would mean that I would just mess up the number sequencing because the numbers aren't connected and I would just anyways, I need to move on. Tammy says, I think you are serious people and I appreciate that. Germans are so unserious though. Like literally, are you German, Arbor? I didn't know you were German. Let's see. Arbor says, I don't know, I'm seriously considering to get the fuck out now. Nobody seems serious from up close. Yeah, no. Yeah. Darius says, you don't need to do loads of reading on stream, it's just something I like to do in it. That's why I show videos, and I'm like, look at the video! And then I can say the words. And then I can read what you guys are doing, and then I have the video playing, and sometimes I'll, like, read a thing on the screen or whatever, but then I can pay attention to chat, which my eyes go this way. I'm not, like, a fucking lizard or something where my eyes can be like, bleep. I'm not the girl from, like, 2,000-pound sisters or fucking whatever, where her eyes are like this. Because then I'd be blind. Okay? If your eyes go this way, technically, I don't know. I feel bad now. I feel like I'm making fun of disabled people. But I'm not, though. If you could theoretically see with both eyes and control them independently, it'd be really fucking freaky and people would make fun of you. But you'd be able to do both. And that honestly seems like OP a little bit to me. But whatever. Anyways. Arbor, Germans have so much of a sense of humor. You guys literally have like the fork and pudding meetings. That is how you socialize because you are so, nobody takes each other seriously enough to have conversations. So you have to have the fork and pudding parties and meetups. Bruh. That is the most unserious shit ever. And then you get fucking slosh and you rave for hours. And honestly, your rave culture is so much better than America's because you're forced to leave your phones. Like, if I hate that about American party culture. Everyone's like, they're fucking weird as fuck. They're like, you know, they just fucking drives me crazy. That's why I don't like going out. Because it's like you can't even like do anything and like fuck up and have fun because you're always like someone's gonna like they're just watching you. Anyways. Dari says, Yeah, it's your show, Josie. We all understand how you read it, how you want. No, it's true. Is it two rivals meet in the woods? They die. Is that the famous German joke? Arbor says two hunters, but oh, it's been decades since I met someone who knows that joke. Oh, what is the joke? Tammy says maybe not, and it could just be wrong idea in my head because they're German people I dealt with were very serious. I think they pretend to be serious. I don't know. The Germans I've met have always been like shit posting. Like they ever really like, I guess Darius, you are right. It's very much like British humor, where this is my type of humor too. Like I'll like you gotta be super stone faced and then say shit that's so fucking absurd, and people are like, "Bitch, what the fuck?" And I think it's so funny. I think it's so funny. That's what German humor is like. They're just like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go fucking off myself now. I'm just gonna go like." Fucking, I don't know, do some random shit. Like, it's just so exaggerated. And they say it so seriously, and I love it. Oh, I fucking love that shit. It's so funny. Sorry. Anyways, Darius says, that's why you need to pretend you're on a catwalk at parties, Josie. It's gonna revolutionize your social life. People in American parties suck. They suck. Like, when I was doing more underground party stuff, because I used to bartend, and I don't think I've talked about this. Uh, um, anyways, uh, sometimes people would host parties and they would have bartenders come in and do stuff. And some of the parties, you would not be allowed to have your phones and stuff. Those were lit as shit. Those were lit as fucking shit. They were fun. The music was great. Nobody was trying to just like take photos of the DJ all the time. Sometimes people were making interesting decisions. I'm gonna be real. Sometimes people do that shit. But it's so much better than like people doing whatever. And you don't even have to participate. It's just people are more free to be themselves. And then if you go to like a club here, fucking Nebraskan clubs are shit. I'm sorry. People, they think Fred again is hard style, okay? Okay? I can't handle that shit. Like, I like Fred again. I think it's chill. You can't advertise him as fucking hard style. Like, sorry, I don't fuck around with my DJs. I like my techno. But when you say that Charlie XCX is techno, I die inside. Because she's fucking pop EDM, okay? Okay? With some club shit in it, like club classics. It's club music. It is not techno. Anyways, watch this, Josie. This is the greatest German comedian. Oh my god, I'll save it for later. I've seen this dude. No, I've seen this dude. I know this man. This dude is wild. Anyways, I know this dude. Tammy says, when you laugh when you are saying a joke, you just making it unfunny. Suck my dick, Tammy. To Arbor says, and other bartenders told you wild stories. Well, not really. I didn't really work with a ton of other bartenders. It was usually me and the person that was like one of the hosts, Because it'd be small scale shit, just like at most like 100 people. Anyways, Daria says, absolutely love it when someone tries to tell a joke but starts laughing during it, Tahami. I find that more fun than the joke. See, Tahami? See, Tahami? I'm funny. See, I like to laugh. And when I tell a joke, I'm not telling a joke for you, I'm saying it for myself. If I'm telling a joke for you, I don't laugh. And then I pretend like I didn't say a joke at all. And I like to make people confused. Making people confused is what I do to enjoy myself. I like to make people question things. I like them to be like, is this bitch for real? And I just like, it's not like shock comedy because that's boring. I could just say anything about like, oh, well, my dildo is the size of the Eiffel Tower, or like make some random like sex joke. That's boring. It's easy. It's easy. Getting people to be confused and mildly embarrassed for not understanding the jokes that I'm saying, that's king shit. I love that shit. So good. So good. I love it. It's my favorite. It's because I'm a troll. I'm just a troll. I'm sorry. I can't help it. But I only do it IRL. Just so you know. I'm not like that online. I actually am, and you guys are thinking I'm serious. And sometimes you get the joke. But I think that's why Americans don't like it, because I'm not like, here's the punchline. I just confuse you. Anyways, Darius says, LOL Scooter or Techno, not fucking Charlie. Okay. He was in Pitch Perfect too. Let's see. Tahimi says, I don't know, man. I like the unexpected jokes that always people say when they're making a serious face. Thank you. Thank you. But it only works if you get the joke, you know? No, Josie, I'm not talking about you. Thank you. Good, because I work really hard, okay? Because I'm funny. You can't see Ollie, but he said hello. Hi, baby. Oh, he's so cute. Anyways, like deadpan humor. Yeah, deadpan humor is the best. It's so funny, and that's why Americans don't get me. British people love my jokes. They fucking do, and I love it for myself. It is so great, and I love really dramatic stuff. Tammy says you are funny. I'm talking in general, not you. Thank you. I know I'm the best, but I can't help but laugh at that one because it's kind of true. I am the best. is joke. See, that's one where you have to laugh at because otherwise people think you're snooty. The hard thing is when I was younger, I was a bit of an ugly duckling, you know? Like, I wasn't, like, attractive. So I had to change my humor with time. So beforehand, when I would say things like, oh, I'm the hottest bitch in town or whatever, people would laugh because obviously I wasn't hot. And then I got older and I had more of a glow up. And then I started making that joke and nobody was laughing at it anymore. So I was like, maybe it's not funny if you're actually attractive. Gary says, please tell me you've told a joke and then followed it up by saying British people love this joke when everyone is just looking blankly at you. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I do that shit all the time. Like, oh man, when I was working and giving like tours all the time at the historic building, I still volunteer there sometimes or whatever, but it's not like they've strayed away from tours because of reasons. But my brain just like flashbacks from Nam. But like I would make a joke and I'd be like, oh, it's okay, you guys just aren't like British enough to get that. And they'd be like, oh ho 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 ho, because that would make them laugh. I'd just be like, oh man, if you were a Gen Zer, you'd laugh at that. And they'd be like, oh ha 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 ha. Anyways. Arbor says, I'm still looking for people that get my jokes. Don't congratulate me for my being funny when I was serious. Same. Oh my god, it's so annoying. Like, I'll just be like, oh, haha, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, oh, this is so funny. And I'd just be like, ah! Like, this is tick damage. My soul hurts. Because, like, nothing is worse than, like, legitimately being like, oh, man, I love this thing so much. It's, like, my favorite thing. And people are like, oh, it's so funny. Like, oh, my God. One time, this is why I never talk about social media stuff online, just so you know. I was talking to, like, some people who were, like, my age, and we were talking about, like, streamers and that sort of thing. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, sometimes I like to stream. It's really fun. Because they were like, oh, I don't understand how it works. And they're like, oh, haha, that's really funny. Like, you a streamer? And I was like, and then they were like, oh man, all streamers are is like all these random stereotypes. They're like, they're gamers, and all these gamers do, they're like fucking incels, and they're like, what? Like they just started like roasting me, and I was like, no, it's like actually really fun. Like, I talked to lots of different people from lots of different places, and they started laughing at me, and they were mocking me. They were like, all these different streamers for all these places, and I was like, holy shit! I actually like this. Oh my god. Yeah, Toyomi says, I could be depressed so bad if that happened to me. Yeah. Oh, nothing. Like, oh my god. When I was like, this is like kind of deep and dark or whatever, but this is the funniest one. So I remember my family was like, Josie, like, I know that things haven't been the best for you or whatever, but let us know if you need help, okay? And I was like, I low-key am suicidal. Like, I literally told them that, and they laughed at me. They laughed at me, and then they were like, it's funny looking back at it now, because I'm not like that anymore. I'm not looking for your sympathy. But my grandma was like, if anything bad happened, and you're, like, not feeling okay, just let me know. I was like, Grandma, I feel like killing myself. I think I need therapy. And she was like, oh, you don't need therapy for that. She's like, you don't need therapy for that. That's just what life is. And I was like, oh. Anyways, it hurts. Daria says, this is why I carry my joke bell around with me and ring it after making a joke. Ding ding. Anyways, Tammy says, I need one man. Where did you count it? Bro. Daria says, I get it from your mom, Tammy. Rings joke bell. Bro. You guys are crazy as fuck. She took it so seriously. Tammy. Wait, what do you mean? My grandma? Or your mom? Hello? Hello? Why are you being so... Oh, I started stream late. He wants me to prep his food. I'm going to prep your food for that. Ever since you don't need therapy for that. What you need is a gun. Rings German joke bell. That's literally what my grandma was like, no, everybody, like her, do you know what she started doing? She started leaving Bible verses. And I was like, grandmother, this is not helping me. And then she was like, you don't feel like killing yourself anymore, right? And I was like, I need therapy. And then she was like, no, we're going to have your father move back in with you. This will help you. Does this help? And I was like, no. And then they were like, it was so fucking stupid. Let's see. Chiffon. Oh, Chirafin? What do I call you? Tammy says your grandma. My grandma was so fucked up. She had 4 strokes though. So like I don't know if it's like the brain damage or she legitimately did not feel any sympathy towards me. But I don't know, man. What do you mean, Chira? Is it Chira? Chira. I also have more plants actually. This is only some of them. I technically have over 100 in my house. Yes, it's Chira. Cool. Does that mean anything? What are you doing, Stinky? Oh, baby. My dog's here. No, it's just a name. Oh, cool. Well, yeah, I have lots of plants. To be honest, I have over 100. And they're actually quite big. Why did that need the British accent? Because I want you to know, Darius, when I'm being a sassy little bitch, I speak in a British accent because I think it's funny. I literally do. Because what you gonna do about it, bro? Square up. Me too. Fuck. Do you notice the difference when being in a room filled with plants? Yeah. I don't want to kill myself as much, Lamau. Get your Stone Island on, let's go. Yeah, fucking. I like Stone Island so much, bro. It's the heat reactive. Then you can see my nipples. Sorry, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I took it too far. I'm streaming. Reeling it back in. Let's chill the fuck out. Oliver, what do you want? Stop sexualizing Stone Island. But it's for the baddies. I ain't never been with a baddie. And fighting in general. That's why I did kickboxing, bruv. Pew pew. But yeah, no, sorry, Chira. Are you good? Are you good? He's not good. What's the coolest plant you own? Oh, bro.
You think, Ollie? What do you think is the coolest, Ollie? What do you think?
I have to think actually.
Why would you do that to me, Oliver?
I have date palms, but they're all like over here in that thing. I have a couple that I really like. Most of them are hard for me to grab right now, though. I could show you one if you'd like. Why are you being such a weirdo, Ollie? You're so weird. Yeah, I know. Be weird. I mean, I guess I could show you this one. This is the coolest one that I have. I have a patchouli plant, like, you know, patchouli, and I'm gonna make a patchouli oil and then make like a cologne out of it. Technically, a perfume. But I have to, so I have patchouli, and then I really want to get something to make musk out of, you know? What's that? Oh, it's like a, do you wear cologne? It smells good in a cologne. Just saying, with notes of patchouli, not like the kick him in the balls patchouli, or like the stoner patchouli, or like old people patchouli. I'll show you. This is patchouli. Okay, I got a lurk. Okay, bye, Arbor. This is patchouli. I just brought it in from outside. But I'll take the little leaves. Oh, and it's shedding all of its small ones so it can grow like bigger ones on top. It looks eatable. I bet you could eat it. But it smells like sexy. Oh, when I couldn't afford perfume and stuff like that, I would take samples from like Kohl's. I don't know if you're in America. You could go to a perfume store, get a lot of the little samples like from Sephora, and then mix it with body lotion, and then that's what I would do. Oh, it smells. The best perfume is called Tester. Tira says, "Is that preserved fart gas in the fish tank?" No, it's just water. I do have another plant I'll show you. It's called a protocarpus. I actually quite like it. Ugh, it's kind of heavy though. Boop. You can see him in hedges in like California. That's where I first saw him, and I was like, oh, I like this. It's cool. I also have other plants. This is a lot bigger than I thought it was, honestly. I have like other plants too, but I repotted it and it was dying. And now I have a lot of new growth. It's very happy. Let's see. I also have other ones. I have a lot, honestly. A lot of them I can't get right now. Oh, this one's cool too. I have like multiple fig trees, some of them edible, some of them aren't. Oh, here's this one's cute. This is a dragon plant. It's a Dracaena. I like it. If your cats eat it, they start hallucinating. So they're not allowed to have it. But he wants it. He's a little druggy. Look at his eyes. He's tracking it. He likes the drug plant. So I have to hide it from them. Well, what's the longest you've watered your plants for in a day? 7 hours. When I had 300 plus plants, it would take me 2 days. It would take me like 5 hours a day. And that was during peak growing season, so like in the summer. When you have them all bundled together, it makes it a lot easier. Boop. I have a lot of them though. I like plants. I have a lot less than I used to. I started working at a garden center a bit. Is this a political stream? Sometimes. Sometimes we do plants. I will game on the weekends, bro. Look how jiggly it is. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. Oh man. From every angle, she's sexy. Dara says, very sure off. Depends on how much sugar she's had. I haven't had any sugar today. You understand what that has done to me? You know what that's done to me? It's okay. Tomorrow I'm getting more sugar. I will get my candy, so I will be a good gamer. I will win the video game. I'll do good. Yes, it made you do some research. Bruh. Are plants smart enough to debate politics? Well, I was going to say something really mean about other people. But jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. Tammy says just put it in your pocket and use it whenever you want. It's the best thing that humans created after napkins. Candy is the best. I love sugar. I think it's because, I don't know, I'm afraid of getting like too skinny, so I'm just like, I eat it all. What was I going to say? I don't know, I forgot now. Not gonna lie, I legitimately forgot. I think, no, I forgot. Dari says, I avoid sugar as much as possible. Carbs are the devil, man. Okay, for me, dairy is the devil. Cheers says we won't judge. I have been bullying like this entire fucking stream, bro. Like, I've been like, let's talk shit about Destiny. All that shit, bro. I've been so mean. I've been like critiquing everybody. I've been like, catch a stray, bitch. But I try to make it constructive. Unless you're a douchebag, and then you deserve what you get. Just saying. Okay. Doris says they made me fat. Okay. I don't know. I have like so many allergies and intolerances that like I just eat sugar to meet my food intake stuff. I bet I could get fat though. You know? Tammy says, I can't avoid it, man. My tongue loves it. I think. Fuck. You are well known for being extremely intolerant. I'm so intolerant of everybody. So intolerant. That's why I avoid people. Stay home. I need to like secure this. It keeps falling down. It's so annoying. Wish Siri didn't like chew on it, otherwise I'd still have it hanging, but whatever. Especially Scousers. I don't mind Scousers. You hate Scousers, Darius. You discriminate against Scousers. Scousers don't get knocked out. You like Patty the Batty. Come on, like, you can hate Scousers and still like Patty the Batty. He's like, he's really into his wife, which either means he's gonna like end up cheating on her, or he actually really likes his wife. Yeah, I saw this and saved it for you. Oh my god. No context, Fritz. At a funeral today, the speaker mentioned what football team the deceased supported and someone booed. Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. I like being mean, okay? It's just, it has to be for valid reasons. It can't just be like, oh my god, they're just fucking ugly. They have an ugly personality. Point that out. Be like, damn, you haven't said a nice thing about someone in like 15 fucking years. Why do you think you're pretty or whatever? Like, you can hurt people's feelings, and that's like the best part. That's what I like about British humor. It like gets into the nitty gritty of it, you know, and it's funny because it's true. That's the best part. Like, if you want to be funny and make fun of someone, you have to say true stuff instead of like come up with random bullshit, because that's like the best part. And I don't care if that makes me seem like a bad person. I feel like a bad person saying that. Oh. But that's what makes it good. Like, it has to be real. And that's the funny shit. I don't know. IMO. Anyways. I bet the newbie left. I bet they're like busy with the book. I was struggling to find the straw. Any users? What do you want with the last 10 minutes of stream, chat? What do you want us to do? What's the vibe? We have discussed many things today. Many things. So what would you like to discuss next? I don't know what that accent was. It just came from the depths of my soul. And it felt right. Dearie. It felt right. I so fuck. I didn't mean it like that. Ah, fuck my life. This is what happens when I don't get candy. I turn into an old man that has dementia, and all you can think of is his glory days. I'm sorry. I feel like I went too far with that one. Shit. Okay, someone say something, otherwise I'm gonna keep being weird. Anyways, so do you think that, like, I don't even think I covered the topic that I meant to. We had someone come in and be like, what do you think about, like, taxing the rich and political pendulum, bro? We were not on topic, like, today. I mean, we did kind of discuss the political pendulum when it comes to, like, optics. So I'm gonna, like, bend the rules and say that I achieved my goals there. Yeah. I do have an essay that I have to write tonight, so I can only be here for about 10 or so more minutes. What do you think, Chad? What should we talk about next? I feel like we should cover, I guess I did kind of cover the tax the rich thing. It's pretty much like TLDR. You know, I already discussed it, so I don't think I have to dive into it again. Man, it was so fun, though. I really do want to discuss that at some point. But it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like, meh, there it is. Be brave and give us reasons why you shouldn't tax the rich. I think we should tax the rich, bro. That's literally what I said. I was like, taxing the rich at 3% is ridiculous because they can still exponentially grow their wealth. You have to, like, start taxing them at an increased rate that's above what they make income-wise in, like, a certain year for an extended period of time until the distribution of wealth becomes even to the point where taxing them a little bit, like, just slowly go down eventually. But literally, like, after fucking World War II, to compensate for, like, the lack of funds that we had for I don't know, because, you know, the war made a shit ton of money. I think we taxed people at around, like, oh man, it was like a super high percentage. I think it was like maybe 50 some percent. What was the highest percentage the wealthiest Americans were taxed in history? I think oh, 94%. Yeah. Oh, that was the marginal tax rate though. So yeah. It was like pretty fucking high. And now above 70% until 1981. I think now it's around like 30% or some shit like that, which is why the exponential growth has happened. But yeah. Daria says, otherwise, Josie, you know what you've become a peddler of narratives. Give the counter arguments. Why would I give the counter arguments? There is no counter argument. Why the fuck wouldn't you tax rich people? Like, it's like scumbaggy. Like, oh, I want them to, like, jerk off, and instead of, like, I want them to have just goon themselves to get more money. That's basically what you're doing. You're just like, here, get more money for just existing. Like, I'd rather pay someone on OnlyFans because they're actually putting in work over, like, a fucking billionaire who's having people work for them. And then making money off the people working for them. Like, what the fuck? Anyways, we've already discussed that, though. So it's kind of like the Laffer curve. We're being real. Like, super fucking rich people don't have to fucking work. They just choose to work. And I don't know, I think a lot of people, when they do get really wealthy, because I've been around some pretty wealthy people or whatever, and I guess the curve is kind of valid, but I don't think it's super relevant to our discussion. Personally, I believe that having more of the lower classes having expendable money that they can purchase things on their own can make it so that you don't need to have as many government benefits, like SNAP benefits. And I think people are going to understand that after this November because there is no funding for SNAP that's happening a lot. And I think a couple of different states, maybe Pennsylvania, I could be incorrect with that one though, is gonna like dry out for SNAP benefits. And people won't be able to afford their food, which increases crime rates and everything. And you do need government assistance, you know, but the idea is to have enough like government initiatives and regulations so that people don't necessarily have to rely on government assistance in order to survive. Maybe every once in a while, sure, but not throughout their entire lives, which we've seen in poverty-stricken areas, especially within like rural areas within the Bible Belt or other old manufacturing areas. Like, yeah. Dari says, in principle, I think it's always super important to look at the counter arguments when you make political points, like even with dumb stuff like tariffs. With this, there isn't really any counter arguments. The idea of the counter argument would be selfishness, saying that, oh, well, I got mine, so like it's fine. That's like a common one that we hear. But the reality is most people, when they're defending conservative policies, they were kind of going at it with the idea of self-preservation, like preserving their current assets, or self-interest of them trying to increase their assets that they have at that time. And usually that means taking money away from other people and giving it to themselves, whether that be tax breaks or whatever, making it so that less people can, like, lowering the minimum wage or whatever, so that you yourself as like a capitalistic person or someone who's higher up in society can like make more money off of people because the bottom line decreases, so then you have more profit. Daria says, I mean, economics and especially taxation used to be the difference between right and left. There's a lot of counters on both sides. Realistically speaking, unless you're talking about the super rich. Yeah, no, I get that. But if we're being honest, a lot of the conservative stuff that's been going on for a really long time has been more focused to the ultra wealthy than it has ever been to the lower classes. And it's kind of promoting the idea that anybody could become high class or super fucking rich or whatever, or be part of that level of society, is what promotes the economic aspects of conservatism. It doesn't actually keep, like it's the fallacy of trickle-down economics. It's not even real. It would never work like that. Because the rich are more likely to hoard their assets than the poor are, because the poor have to spend their money to survive, and the rich people don't have to spend their money. They can just reinvest it in properties, companies, or whatever, like assets that don't depreciate as fast, that they can hoard themselves, that they don't necessarily put back into the economy. So having someone who has like a second, third home or whatever, unless they're renting out those properties or allowing people to live in them and they're like making a minor profit off of it so that they can just pay for taxes or whatever, it's not really fueling the economy. It's just kind of making it worse, because then that house is pretty much just sitting there in value. Like, it's just not doing anything. It's not making anybody money. It's not serving a purpose for anybody. And if you scale that and you have things like super yachts, or I don't even fucking know, like people owning islands, or like large scales of property in highly expensive areas, like fucking, I don't know, the list goes on and on. It's like, if you take away all those resources from the people, don't allow for it to be circulated back into the economy in any way, then you're fucking everybody over. Then the wealthy are hoarding assets. It's fucked up. Tammy says, I think that I can do it, so I should shut up and don't argue with anyone, because of course I'm not going to like what they say, but when it comes to politics specifically, you have to be open-minded to other opinions. I'm not that open-minded to a lot of these opinions. Not because I don't care, it's because I haven't heard a new take in a really long time, and I understand that can make me seem like not willing to understand, but it's just, you have to give me like another argument that makes sense, because nothing about conservative policies when it comes to finances makes sense to me, like ever. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I just don't freaking get it. It drives me insane. Dory says, so it's things like supply side economics here to Hammy. You need to understand or find out the other philosophy to properly understand the arguments, or it becomes a narrative about fair v unfair. I'm not even talking about fair v unfair. Like, I understand a lot of conservatives like the idea of having money being allocated to a singular source, so that theoretically that money can be redistributed into other companies and stuff. But you don't need to have rich people do that. They're basically fucking replacing what the government could be doing. So an example would be NASA. NASA has been severely underfunded by the United States government for a very long time. They keep losing more and more funding to the point where now it is cheaper to go to third-party companies like fucking Starlink or not Starlink, but like, I don't know, all these other fucking, like, I guess Starlink for satellites and stuff, so that is correct, but there's so many different like third-party companies for space travel and that sort of shit now that people say that that would theoretically be better, but the reality is, oh no, my plant started doing, okay, whatever, but theoretically that doesn't make anything better, because having a lot of different companies that the government is still paying, like the government is still paying these companies to do all this shit, isn't really making stuff better. Like, you can have multiple people doing the same thing, but it's making it more expensive because the government has to promote the competition, whereas if the government were to just be in primary control over it and then hire on independent workers and stuff like that, then it would be better economically speaking, because all these companies take up a lot of space. Not all of these companies are following government regulations or oversight properly in order to keep the funding, which is a whole nother discussion, because people are, like, I think Elon Musk has tried to launch things when he was not cleared to launch them. And that was a really big thing, like, I think a year or two fucking ago, I don't fucking know, around that time. But when you have multiple people, and then that organization that is still technically existing within the government kind of turns into an oversight organization, but they don't even get the resources necessary in order to build out an oversight team, it just makes it worse because it's less regulated. And when it comes to things like, it's, the list goes on and on. I could argue about space travel. I could argue about fucking healthcare and stuff like that. A lot of economic things, when you're talking about conservatives or versus left-leaning people or liberals, which difference between lefties and liberals, but whatever. But when you have conservative people or people that are right-wing versus left-wing, the discussion isn't necessarily about like taxes or that sort of thing. It's about government oversight and what the government should be involved in. Now, there's many different ways that you could go about that discussion, but personally, I think that having government oversight ensures that people are not necessarily playing fair, but it actually saves a lot more fucking money than having a lot of people trying to achieve the same thing and competing with one another. It causes more problems because then they're trying to cut more corners, and then you have safety regulation issues. Like Boeing has been, like literally everyone's been up Boeing's ass because Boeing has been violating so many safety regulations to the point where their planes are deemed unsafe by the public. And now, like, and that's because the government oversight and regulations for it have been diminishing. If you have a government that doesn't regulate stuff and make sure that things are safe, yes, you will be paying more in your month to month or whatever, but it saves from large scale expenditures in the future, which causes more problems. Let's see. Daria says it's also great because you can just read stuff for free basically now. Knowledge is so decentralized. Oh yeah, you guys are talking about other stuff. Sahami says, I heard that they killed 2 people because they're talking about them. Yeah, like assassinating whistleblowers and stuff. That's something that has happened a lot in the past. People are afraid to speak out about the negative experiences that they have had in certain companies because of what notoriously happens, like people being unalived randomly. Like, what the fuck is that shit? It's just, when you have private incentives dominate, like, overall, not even public security and safety. I'm not even trying to play that aspect. If you want to maintain a good image for your company and you want to maintain being a monopoly or one of the monopolies in a space, you entirely have to rely on your image being substantial. And the minute people no longer trust your company and they use it because they have to, that allows for other like companies to kind of take your place, and they're afraid of that. Anyways, Daria says someone during my internship died. I think I've told you this before. Yeah, you did. I agree, Tahami, RIP. But yeah, but realistically speaking, in order to resolve a lot of the wealth inequality that we've been having for a long time, we need to tax the rich at an exponential rate, but kind of like have it go down with time. So just like go up for a while, stay consistently high for a little bit, just so that we can get that wealth back down, reinvest that money into government oversight. If we're going to have a private market or a private economy, you need to have more government oversight until you transition into having more government-based systems. And if you don't have any regulation committees, or all of these committees are being defunded, like what Trump is doing, things are overall going to be less and less safe. Like having the CDC no longer be like testing or monitoring for like certain diseases, or being allowed to publicize everything at the same rate they used to, that's really fucking scary. There needs to be government oversight in medicine. There needs to be government oversight in communications for all of this shit. Like, so when people talk about like conservative and listening to that side or whatever, what side is there? The conservative, it's in the name, maintaining the status quo. If you really want to maintain the status quo, you'd be a fucking lib. Like, that's just what liberals fucking do. That is the idea. The idea is to maintain capitalism, the free market as it is right now. You wouldn't be conservative and you wouldn't be left-leaning. You'd be a centrist fucking lib. That's what centrism is. But in America, libs are considered left-leaning, which is absolutely insane to me. But whatever. Barry says, yeah, I'd nationalize health, public transport, energy, and low-income housing tomorrow if I could. The free markets haven't provided the solutions we need. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Are you dissing libs again? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because I can be open and honest about things now. So I can. Tammy says, there's a cool thing that I do for a long time that if I felt bored, I'd just go to Wiki and scroll reading about some random things. That's interesting. Yeah, I like that idea. Sorry to like read into that, but I agree. I think that's cool. I'll try not to be as nosy with what you guys say. I know sometimes it makes people uncomfortable, but oh wow. Anyways, Darius says, oh yeah. But personally, I think that all of these things need to happen if we want to have an economy that supports people as a whole, but that's just something that hasn't happened. So taxing the rich an extra 3% barely fucking does anything. And I understand that it's a step in the right direction, that you have to appeal to the majority rather than the minority, but like having someone like Zoran become super fucking popular, AOC, Bernie Sanders, all of these democratic socialists who are known for being democratic socialists, being openly like, hey, we should do this, and the public support that they've been getting for it, it's so much easier to get people to pass these policies. And the thing that is preventing these policies from being passed at a federal level is because a lot of people in Congress have financial incentives to not pass these regulations because they abuse their seats of power in order to maintain their wealth. That is why people call America an oligarchy, because everyone can be bought. Anyways, Daria says, I'm very conflicted about Zohan's subsidized grocery stores. I can't see that helping in the wrong one. I personally think that he needs to expand upon it a lot more if you want it. Not even, how do I say it? Maybe not expand upon it, but address it from a different angle. So, New York City, it is basically a concrete jungle. That's what everyone calls it, right? They need to focus on having more food that could be grown within city limits, whether that be like rooftop gardens and that sort of thing, and maybe cutting the taxes or providing financial incentives for buildings that provide that. And then that is going to cause more changes. Those are the subsidies, or maybe like paying into it for a bit for people to build that out. Make it impossible for people to do it? Probably not, but have enough oversight and regulations for those subsidies that people could be making, I don't know, getting like an additional $500 or something so that they could build it out over an extended period of time. And if you're building it at a rate that the city approves of, then you get the next like $800 so you can finish building out your garden and so on and so forth. Like, have it be staggered. Daria said, oh, Tammy says that is a good idea, actually. That could really help. No, I've thought about this for a really long time. Like, I've thought about different agricultural ways that we need to do things. I've been born and raised in an ag state. I'm great with plants. Like, this was something that I was really pushing for here in Omaha. And I did get there to be like a lot more home growth stuff that happened downtown. I was talking to a lot of business owners, kind of being like, hey, maybe you should start doing this, start having more food-based things happening, and people like it. They do. Let's see. Am I the only reason why that happened? Probably not. Like, I'm not going to claim all that. But I did, like, when I was working downtown and I would speak to other business owners, I pressured that. I was like, hey, if you start doing this, it'll make things a lot better. Like, I pushed that shit so fucking hard. Daria says, growing your own food is a wicked idea, but does it have a knock-on effects for farmers, etc.? The reason why we have things like, not even the reason, but one of the reasons why we have SNAP benefits is because it makes food cheaper for the overall, like, person to consume. Like, if you didn't have the government providing some financial subsidies, like via SNAP benefits or EBT or whatever, so people could afford buying better quality foods, those foods wouldn't be purchased. And then the amount or the demand for those foods would obviously decrease. People would buy the cheapest things, right? And meat and vegetables are not very cheap here in America. So if they were to purchase that sort of thing, farmers wouldn't have as much crops. They would probably decrease like the amount that they're spending for cattle and so on and so forth. And then if the demand ever goes up, then the prices are going to go up too because they can't meet the demand. So EBT, SNAP benefits, whatever you want to fucking call them, they really help the economy continue to go. If you didn't have that, things would be fucked. Let's see. Daria says, I've never gone into depth on it, but I'm distrustful of steady state food economics. Economies. Here's the thing. I think that it is a little hard, especially in larger cities. Tammy says, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Nebraska an ag state? Yeah, it is. It is. That's why I know a lot about this stuff. My family has farms. My grandfather, he had a tree farm where there would be apples, cherries, produce, that sort of thing. My other side of, like, same family, I guess. A lot of my family has cattle. Then they have to grow corn and feed the cattle and so on and so forth. Like, I was born, I guess I was raised into this shit, It's just how it is. But, let's see. Daria says, if you have that kind of set food be set population idea, it seems something that can be used against the population. Yes, but up until after World War II, when we started having a big economic boom, and I've said this so many times, I feel like I need to mention this because it's very, very, very important. People would grow a lot of their food at home. It was people in the big cities that relied more upon agricultural resources. You can grow enough food for an entire family via aquaponics in the room that I am in right now. I don't know. I'll just give you random numbers because I don't know the dimensions of this room exactly, but like a 13 by 13 room, that's maybe like 10-foot ceilings. You could grow all of the food that you need. All of the food that you need in a fucking year in there. Maybe like going to the grocery store and getting meats or whatever, but that's all you need for your veggies. And people make it out to be a lot more complicated. And in understanding that's how growth can work with foods, you can exploit how nature is, like, instead of going in and just doing the old school shit with, like, fucking plows or whatever, you can do this. Then you have less crop failures. You can have things more controlled, and it's just so much easier. It's harder when it comes to, like, grains or whatever, but that's a whole nother discussion. You can have alternatives for that, but that's another discussion. Daria says, I feel for LDCs, it makes a lot of sense, but not so much here. There is a better solutions than a steady state. It really depends. Like, it really depends. Hammy says, actually, I understand you because I live in an agricultural government and most of my family also has farms. Yeah. Like, a big issue here is that we have crop failures. With global warming, it's causing us to get random freezes and random heat waves that literally destroys all that we have grown. And it fucks shit up. Daria says, like, since specialized sectors have come in for food and agriculture, how many famines have you had and how many before that? It increases. But because we have a global, or at least in America, everything's so large, nationally speaking, and we have reserves of goods. That's also very important to mention. We don't feel it as much as you would, like, 50 years ago. Oh my gosh, I do have to go soon. I was like, no, I have to leave before, but I am needing to go. I am quite hungry. I need to eat. This discussion is going to be a lot harder for me to have as we go on, just so y'all know. But yeah, a lot of the reason why food is so difficult for people nowadays is because they've lost the knowledge of how to grow their own food. And it takes a lot of time. In a capitalistic society, the thing that is most valuable isn't necessarily your job, the things you have, it's your fucking time. That's why social media is so big. It's called a demand economy, you know? Keeping your attention is the best thing that they can do. But I do gotta go. Tammy, you are correct. I guess it's time for me to go. I guess it's time for me to go now. But anyways, we can discuss this more tomorrow if you guys would like to. I'm sorry I didn't really get to touch on this as much earlier. It was an adventure of a stream. I talked shit. We talked politics a little bit. I did want to dive deeper into some aspects of stuff, but we can probably do that tomorrow a little bit too. And then I'll game. I want a fucking game, chat, okay? So, some bloke asked about plants. Yeah, that's honestly what fucked us up. It's the plant conversation, bruv. And it isn't that what it does? Taking the piss and making me go crazy. Anyways. Okay, chill. Just wait 1 second, doggos, okay? So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys have had a wonderful day. I'll be back tomorrow with more Mimi shit, I guess. I don't know. So sleep well, stay safe, stay alive, and toots!